I've actually seen this happen in the game. I played against someone who, I mean, they were bidding, but their threshold for bidding was much lower than everyone else. And so they ended up buying, I think, one painting the whole 4 rounds, and they won just because they collected money. So this leads to another theory. Maybe auctioning is stronger than bidding. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. Against random players that don't know what they're doing, it seems like not bidding is the strategy. I wonder though. So what would be interesting is a matchup between not here. Between one random player and a couple of expected return players. So currently these players don't bid at all. They will in a moment, but currently they don't. I think what we'll need to make this interesting though, expected return, but random tolerance plus 5%. I don't know. So currently we have 3 players who aren't bidding, they're all passing, and 1 player that is bidding. Interesting. I wonder if... Okay, so that's interesting. If you flip the tables, if you have too many players that are not bidding, then bidding turns out to be the better strategy. Interestingly, it's not as good as the reverse. Like we saw when player 3 was the only one passing, they won like 700 of the games. But when player 0 is the only one bidding, they're only winning about 400 of the games. All right, so they don't even win 50% of the time. Whereas player 3 was winning 75% of the time before. Okay, so at some point we'll need a strategy that tries to guess what strategy the other players are using. I feel like where this is going is we're just going to end up creating like a fucking model with a neural network to do this. Which is actually an interesting place that this project can go. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Try to guess if the others are big or small bidders. Adjust appropriately. Another one is if we have 2 random players. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So then if we have 2 no bidders and 2 random bidders, then the no bidders sort of even chance of them winning and kind of even chance of these ones winning. But these have about double the chance of these. A bit more. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to our strategies. I also think it takes too long to run 1000 games. Oh yeah. Hello there, Yellowberry. Good to see you. We're bidding on bits, fake money. Fake money, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this card game. It's called Modern Art. It's an auctioning game. Essentially, every player auctions cards, and in between rounds, they can get money depending on what paintings they bought. It looks something like that. Yeah, here are some artists. Never played it? Yeah, so the reason I started this project is it's very unclear to me what strategy a player should take. It's very unclear if bidding a lot helps, bidding not much helps, bidding high, bidding low. auctioning the same card a bunch, the same artist a bunch rather. So I just want to create a bunch of strategies to test them out and just have them round robin eventually play each other. Currently, we have very boring strategies. They always auction their first card in their hand and they go all in for every bid. So first card all in. And a random player, which picks a random card to auction and a random amount to bid. At the moment, what we're working on is a player that bids the expected return, well, the current expected return for buying the currently auctioned card. So far, what we've learned is that if you have a bunch of random players and one player that doesn't do any bidding, it turns out they just win like 75% of the time. But if you have the reverse, if you have 3 players that are not bidding and 1 player that bids randomly, they win about 40% of the time. So this is kind of what I mean by it's not really clear what you should do in the game. It really depends on what the other players are doing. So I'm hoping to get a big round robin and just sort of see what happens. Okay. Yeah. So it's a fun game to play a couple of times and just if you're the sort of person that likes analyzing, the post round talk or the post game talk, it's a fun game. What do we need to do here though? Right, we need to track the reward. Okay, so let's get into that. Yeah, thanks. Sleep well. It's a fun project, so I guess I'll keep the server updated. Have a good night. Okay. Track reward for selling back to the bank. Yes, that's what we need to do. Alright. So we need to track what has been auctioned. Yeah, so we need to go num played. So that's us. Num played. Num auctioned rather. And this is ev.card. Well, get card from its ID. And then whatever the artist is, +1. And then if we have a double auction, we do it again. If ev.is double, then us.num auctioned. Actually, not go. Odin has a ternary, so we can just go. We'll do that up here. We'll go ev.is double, 2 or 1. There we go. Okay, so we need to keep that down there. But now what we need to do is update the expected reward. So, okay, let's spell this out. We need to compute order of winners. Thing is, right, I also need to know I need to know the configuration for the game. Because I need to know what the reward is for each round. Alright, so in setup, rather than getting the deck, maybe it makes more sense to just get the configuration. That probably is more sensible. Yeah, so if we get the config, we can get the schedule and the artists. And the scores. Yeah, the scores. That's what we need. We need the scores and we need the artists. Yeah, okay. That makes way more sense. Rather than sending each player a copy of the deck, we can just send them the config. Yeah, config. So then if we go back to game, setup game. Yeah, so we don't need to do this now. Do we send a copy of the config? I don't think so. I don't think that makes sense. I can put it in read-only memory, maybe. So this should be config, and this should be conf, I guess. I'll keep the same naming convention, even though it's just for me, so it doesn't matter. That's not in this file, I guess. So did we ever make use of that? Yes, we did, but we don't need that anymore. Because what we need here is just the length of setup.conf.artists. That's all we need. Okay, great. This should be an auction event, I think. Yeah, that should be an auction event. And I guess this depends on if it's a double. For auction.card. I guess this is auction. That's fine. So this should be multiplied by us.auction is double. Right? So if we have a double, then it's double the expected reward, double the expected value. Okay. And we're still going to randomly auction, so we're not going to worry about that. That's fine. We track our money. Wait, do we track our money? I guess so. Yeah, I think what I want to track is the reward and the expected reward, something like that. Expected reward, whatever, and this will be zeroed every round. So we need expected reward. And at a win event, we need to zero that. Yeah, here we go. No. This doesn't happen on a win event. This happens on an auction event. As soon as the card is auctioned, we need to update its expected value. Not when there's a win. Yeah, so on a win event, we need to clear. What are we clearing? Also, this shouldn't just be reward, it should be expected reward. No, it should be the addition of the two. So in reward, I want to track the previous round rewards. And expected reward, I want to track the current round rewards. Ah, right. That's not quite true. It's a little more complicated than that. Because if the expected reward this round is 0, then you don't add to the previous round rewards. Those are ignored. It's only if the expected reward this round is not 0 that you include. Okay, so this is maybe a little more complicated, but we can deal with that. That's not a problem. I swear, this game's got so many rules. I mean, it doesn't have that many rules, but they're all edge cases of each other. It's not like a unifying thing between them.